Hey guys, or should I say privet, rebiata. My name is Zay, and welcome back to another video. So guys, finally, after all these years, a Black Widow movie has made it to the big screen. And honestly, I think it turned out to be exactly what you'd expect a Black Widow movie to be. There was action, fighting, explosions, spy tech, hiding undercover, secret missions, and Black Widow and her cast of characters, of course. And quite honestly, I enjoyed it, but I've seen the movie multiple times now, really gone over it with a fine-tooth comb, used my film student knowledge, and really tried to pick it apart, and I think it's time that we pick this movie apart and find out where it ranks amongst all the movies in the MCU. Guys, before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that I make videos like this about Marvel, Disney, Harry Potter, all the fandoms every single Sunday. And if you want to see all that, make sure you subscribe. We have a great little community here. Everybody's super active, supportive, and fun. So I would love to see you hanging out. And I also have a super exciting announcement. This week, I'm going to be premiering a new series on this channel where we get to live watch movies together. You'll have more updates soon, but make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it, okay? With that said, let's jump into the video. All right, guys, so how are we going to rank this movie? Well, I developed a system. This is actually a system that I'm going to be using from here forward to rate other movies as well, which is how we'll find out where the other MCU movies rank. Essentially, it's a bunch of categories that we get to look at, rate it between 1 and 5 stars, and then those add up, give us a percentage, like a grade on a test. And the grade is where it ranks. So the categories that it can get as a score are going to be like a grade on a test. Going from lowest to highest, we have F, D, C, B, A, and then we have S. So anything in an F tier is going to be a 0 to a 50%. That means that we probably gave everything a 1 star. A D is going to be 60 to 69, C's are 70 to 79, B's are 80 to 89, A's are 90 to 100, and then S's are 100 plus. Now, how can something get over 100%, you may ask? The X factor. The X factor is a thing in a movie that just makes it special. Now, not all movies have this, but if it does, it gets an extra 10 points. That's basically an extra letter grade. So if we rate a movie high enough and it has something really special about it, it's going to be an S tier, and it's going to be among the greatest of all the movies in the MCU. So the first section I have to start rating is about the story. We're going to grade the plot, structure, the themes, characters, conflict, resolutions, and payoffs. So each of those subjects are going to be rated out of 5 stars. Now, 1 star is absolutely horrible, 2 stars is below average, 3 is average, 4 is above average, and 5 is fantastic. So what does Black Widow get? Let's find out. Now for Black Widow's plot. It was fun to watch, but they didn't take many risks. Now, that's not necessarily needed in a movie like this, but it did stand out. But one of the good things about this movie is that it seems like they really took their times with the writing. The story's pretty concise. The only time it really breaks its path is when it goes to flashbacks, but those were very clear. I can't think of any parts of it that really stood out to me as being bad at all, but I also can't think of anything that made it amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4. It was above average. It was a strong movie. They definitely knew what they wanted to do. All right, now we go on to structure. Now, the structure was great. The flashbacks all made sense. I didn't feel like I was lost at any point in the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a 5. With movies with flashbacks like that doesn't always happen. Something like Bird Box would be an example of when that doesn't work. The whole movie's a flashback when it doesn't even need to be. Like, they could have just shown the plot of the movie and it would have been fine. But in Black Widow, all the flashbacks build and help you understand more. There are points where flashbacks reveal plans of the protagonist. And there are times where flashbacks show us stuff that we heard about 10 years ago. Like, seriously, Black Widow killing that little girl was mentioned in the Avengers movie? The first one?
Can he wipe out that much red? Dracov's daughter?
What? All right, so next up we have themes. Now, the theme in this movie definitely was about family. And not in like a Fast and the Furious kind of way, but more about what makes a family. And if family is something that deserves to be and has the ability to be saved. I think this is the standout part of the movie. Black Widow learns that she has her family. Her sister learns that even though the family wasn't genuine family, that it was still real to her and it's still valuable. And Black Widow comes to realize that the Avengers are her family and that that's something that she wants to save. I think they did a great job with that, so I'm going to give that a 5. All right, so for characters. This movie's greatest strength, I truly believe, are its characters. The 2 standout ones for me were Yelena and Alexei. Awesome performances. I absolutely love them. I know from the post-credit scene that we're going to see a lot more of Yelena. I do hope that we get to see more Alexei though. Red Guardian, the trumpet is calling. We need you. I think that they offered a lot to the story, but I think they also picked up on where Black Widow kind of falls flat. Black Widow is an awesome character, but she needs people to ground her and make her feel like a person. And that's exactly what these people do. And they have perspectives and experiences that are completely different from Black Widow. And that makes this whole movie richer for it. So characters gets a 5. Now for the conflict of the story. It is very clear from the beginning that there's a big bad guy that needs to be taken down because he's gone too far. There's a clear villain. There's a clear conflict. That doesn't always happen with these movies. And because of that clarity and because it's so concise, I'm gonna give it a 5. Now we're moving on to resolution. Now the resolutions in this movie are actually great. All the loose ends get tied off. Black Widow gets away from Secretary Ross, finally determines that she's gonna save the Avengers. Yelena gets her own mission to go free the widows. Alexei and Melina are gonna help her, and all the free widows are gonna do the same. Everybody gets a happy ending. Everybody walks away with a new purpose, and I think it's great. Now with that said though, I think the Black Widows fell a little flat. Honestly, I feel like the movie could have ended at that crash site where the Red Room fell. So it won't get a perfect 5, but I'm definitely comfortable giving it a 4. All right, and then the last part for the first section, we have payoffs. Now the payoffs are actually really great. When we first see Natasha and Yelena, we see them whistling to each other, we see them hanging upside down, and we see them get hurt and learn that pain is stronger. Now Natasha's able to bring up this pain is stronger sentiment to her mother figure, Melina, almost at the end of the movie. Yelena and Natasha, when they finally see each other after the Red Room crashes, get to see each other upside down just like when they were kids, referencing it as a sort of joke. And the last interaction we see between the sisters is the whistling that we saw them introduced with. Now speaking outside of just the film and going into the MCU as a whole, we get to see the big bad's daughter that Natasha was known for killing. And she finally gets to make peace with that. We also see how Black Widow was able to remain in hiding. We get to see where Natasha's buried after she sacrifices herself in Vormir. And we get to see an incredibly powerful hidden regime essentially get taken down. One of the major players for the bad guys wiped out. So because of all those different things, I'm gonna give the payoff section a 5. Thought it was fantastic. All right, now we move on to the second of the 3 sections, production. This is everything that happens during the production of the movie. First off, we have visuals. There wasn't anything really striking about it, but it felt like they knew what they were doing. I can't think of anything that made it special, to be honest. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 3. Just an average. All right, next up we got performances. How did the actors do? I think they did an awesome job. Black Widow to me always feels a little flat at times. She's quippy with her friends for sure, but she's a little serious. And I think that the characters that were brought in actually brought out such an awesome side of her. She was still just as serious as she normally is. And we got to see that quippiness too. We also got to see this caring side. We got to see a part of her that was in denial still. We got to see a part of her that was hopeful and lost hope. As I said, Alexei and Yelena were just standout. Those actors did such an amazing job. So for performances, 5 stars. All right, so next up, we've got settings and set design. Now the sets were actually really cool. Now a spy movie like this where you're running around the world, sets are going to be a lot more location based as opposed to something like Thor Ragnarok where they got to make their own style of like architecture and stuff for Sakaar. But I think that the sets in this movie were incredibly well designed and I think they were really well utilized. Even when we go to a location like say Morocco, I didn't feel lost. So because of that, I'm going to give it a 4, an above average. I don't think it was quite 5-star worthy, but it was awesome to see. All right, so next up we have stunt work. Now with any Marvel movie, stunt work is always going to be right up in your face and super impressive, but this one was just awesome. We have spies jumping and leaping from buildings, rappelling down ledges. We have people flying through explosions, flying through the air. And the fight scenes in this movie were so good. One of the things that really stands out about those fight scenes is Taskmaster. Now, as you know, Taskmaster can replicate any fighting that they see. And on my second watch through, I really made sure to watch how they fought, and I really appreciated it. When Taskmaster is introduced, we see them watching a video of Hawkeye and Black Panther fighting, presumably studying and learning how to use their moves. Well, in the final battle that Taskmaster has with Alexei, we see them using the Black Panther ching, you know what I'm talking about? The ching. And it was so cool to be like, hey, they just learned that. It was all just awesome. All the fight scenes are great. So I'm going to give this a fantastic. The stunt team for Marvel is always great, but this one was fantastic. All right, now for special effects. If you don't know the difference between special effects and VFX, special effects are the kind of practical ones, the things that were actually made. With that explained, I think the special effects on this movie were actually really good. The first one that stands out to me was when one of the widows breaks her leg in a fall. It looks so real. I think there might have even been 1 or 2 real explosions. So I'm gonna give the special effects a 4. While they were definitely great, I just think they weren't utilized as much as they should have been. All right, then last for this section, we have props. Now the props were really cool. The canister that contained the antidote was very clear. I think one of the best props in the movie was actually Taskmaster's suit. Black Widow and the other widows had white suits. Those were cool. And Alexei, the Red Guardian, had his suit revealed, and that was also pretty cool. But in all honesty, I can't think of anything that really stood out as being amazing. And for the MCU that uses so many cool props and stuff, this is kind of the bar that they've set. So for props, I'm gonna give it an average. All right, now on to the last section, post-production. This is everything that happens after the movie is filmed. First up, we have editing. The actual movie editing? Phenomenal. There was this intro scene, this flashback of how Natasha ended up in the Red Room with her sister that it just really fell flat for me. It's like a montage with this cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit sung, slow and sad. And it did not do it for me. The credits are flashing over, it felt really out of place, and it was edited just really all over the place. So because the editing in the movie was good, and this one kind of tanked it down a little bit for me and got some points taken away from it, I'm gonna give it an average. there wasn't anything that really stood out, so I think 3 stars is okay. All right, now for the VFX. The VFX in this movie were great. I think it's kind of just the standard that Marvel has set that, you know, they put a lot of money into the VFX, but they really did a great job. Was there something that made it stand out as being fantastic though? No, I don't think so. Honestly, I can't think of anything that made it above average even. Like I mentioned, this is kind of the bar that Marvel has set, and I can't think of something that they did that went above that. So while I'm a very big fan of how well the VFX turned out, I'm also going to give this a 3. All right, next up we have music. The music was average, except for that cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit. Again, I just hated it. It immediately brought me out and just sent cringes down my spine. But it was like a very normal Marvel movie. You know, something like Black Panther I think would stand out as being fantastic in the music department. You know, it felt new, innovative. This one just kind of felt like it blended in. It was done well. I just don't think that there was anything that really made it special. So again, 3 stars. And now for the last part of this section, we have sound design. The sound design in this was amazing. Go back and watch this and just listen to the sounds they made for the guns. Like, just that is amazing. But then you have the sound of when the antidote's free, this kind of sand falling and chimmering glass. Chimmering is not a word. Shimmering? Chiming? Nah, not chimmering. It's shimmering and shining. Chiming. Damn it. We have all the explosions, we have all the fight scenes and everything. The sound design was phenomenal. I'm actually going to give the sound design 4 stars, above average. And that leaves us with the very last part of this rating system, the X factor. Did Black Widow have something that made it stand out as being super special compared to all the other movies in the MCU? Honestly, I don't think so. The one thing that I was really considering could have been an X factor for this would be the fact that it was a female-led superhero movie. That would have been revolutionary a few years ago. But unfortunately for Black Widow, we already have Captain Marvel, and Scarlet Witch just got her own show, so I don't think I can award it that. So while that's definitely an amazing sign of progress, and I love seeing women shown on this screen in that way, it was already beat to the punch. So unfortunately, I don't think Black Widow gets any bonus points. But guys, now it's time to tally up our stars. I'm gonna go through with my calculator and we'll add it up together. So we're starting with plot, 4 stars, then structure, 5, themes, 5, characters, 5, conflict, 5, resolution, 4, payoffs, 5. Then we've got visuals, 3, performances, 5, set design, 4, stunt work, 5, special effects, 4, props, 3, editing, 3, VFX, 3, music, 3, sound design, 4, and no X factor. And that's gonna leave us with 82%. And that means that Black Widow, the latest entry in the MCU and the first entry into the MCU tier list here on the channel, is gonna be ranking in at a B. B for Black Widow, it works out. I think I'm pretty happy with that grade, and I hope you guys are too. And that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. This was a lot of fun to make. I'm really excited to use this rating system in the future. I had a lot of fun with this, and I hope you did too. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like below. And while you're down there, subscribe if you haven't already. We have a great little family here, and you would look great in it. As I mentioned before, make sure to keep your eye out for the announcement of this new live watch-along series that we're gonna be doing. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I would love to have all of you there. Anyway, guys, I will see you next Sunday with another video. But until then, go do some хороший вещь. Did I say that right?
Хорошая вещь.
Хорошая вещь. До свидания.